Greetings and hello, everyone. I know that nobody's necessarily in here yet, but I hope that we are going to. Hello! I see we have a person that just popped in. Nice to hear from you. If you'd like to, please feel free to say hi. Any questions you might have, please feel free to ask them. So we're kind of here just as we are, doing a basic Q&A of what life is going to look like here in a bit. So essentially, I am going to be moving abroad for 6 months to Japan. Right now, I live in a very rural area of the US, and that is my home. But I'm going to kind of be forsaking that to go to the city, a city that's about 3,000 miles away and has a whole nother culture built into it, which I think is going to be absolutely fascinating. So, yeah, I'm just going to be here. And anybody that has any questions, if you're watching, even after this is up, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in, and I'll be happy to answer them. So, yeah, so I started thinking about this whole process over the summer this year, 2022. And this was while the border was still closed, so probably about March, April, probably maybe into May when I started thinking about it seriously. And I applied with a program called Gogo Nihon and kind of had the opportunity to work with them. And that was a pretty interesting process to work with them and see what they had to offer and see what could be done about getting into this wonderful country. So what overall would inspire me to do this? You might be wondering. So roughly 6 years ago, when I was just graduating high school, I thought about this program that I'd heard of called the JET program, which is the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. I've heard great things about it from a lot of people. And so I thought, oh, that's what I want to do. So I went through college because you had to have a bachelor's degree to do this, and I went to go to college. So I did that. I went to college and kind of got stuck in and figured out what I was doing with my life. So after that, I decided that I would apply for the JET program. And the first time I applied, thank goodness, I got to the interview and I interviewed. I felt horrible about the interview and I didn't get selected. That's fine, because sometimes things aren't meant to work out. So then, I started working. That was the natural progression after getting out of college and getting your degree is going to work. So I did that, and by all accounts, that went well. I had a few jobs. Some I liked, some I didn't, but that's another story. But then I got a job working from home, as most people probably did during the pandemic, and that turned into something that was fun, something that I enjoyed, and something that allowed me to consume a lot of content, both on YouTube and other sources as well. So I found this website by chance, Gogo Nihon, that allowed me to express an interest, essentially, in traveling abroad to Japan. And I really liked that. At this time, the country was closed. The US was not, and my area didn't care about anything regarding masking requirements or anything because I live in a rural area. We all kind of know each other. And so I decided that what I wanted to do was go to Japan and learn Japanese for a few months. And so I started the process. I got into the whole thing, and here we are. I have to say that my feelings on the matter so far are a tremendous mix of terrified and excited. Right? It's a tall order to throw yourself out of what you've known, what you've been around for almost 25 years at this point, and then suddenly be smack dab in the middle of something totally different. Uh, that's it's not a bad thing, not a bad thing by any metric. But what it is definitely terrifying. So that is my challenge. That is the thing that I am undertaking at this time, and it's really interesting. I get to do something different. I get to experience a lot of different things. I get to learn a lot of things, both about language and culture. I get to be in a different place, in a different culture and surrounding, and everything is going to be brand new. That is probably the most fascinating part of this whole thing for me. So, that sums up my motivations to do this whole venture. And any of you that watch, I want you to come along. I want you to be interactive, be part of what I'm doing, right? That's why pre-departure I'm having this live stream. That's why I might do another pre-departure stream again, just to kick up whatever, might be going on inside my head at that time. Um, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be something different. And I want you all to participate in that. Even though I have only 10 subscribers right at this particular moment, I'm grateful that 10 people would want to come along on that journey. That feels awesome. That is something that I'm looking forward to. So I can't believe that. I'm super excited. Um, so, I guess to kick off another discussion, why is it that I'm going to Japan to learn a language? That's a good question to think about. So I'm already bilingual. I can speak Spanish. That's my second language. And I learned that much like anyone else in the US would learn Spanish. That was a classroom setting, doing, vocabulary drills, grammar exercises, speaking exercises, the standard process by which basically anyone learns a language in the US. But I had a unique opportunity both a couple of years into learning that language and later down the road as Spanish was my major in university. Um, I was fortunate enough to be granted the ability to go to Spain twice. And the first time I was just happy to be there. I didn't have any spectacular skills, any real ability to communicate. I had, the basics, como estás, or donde está el baño, those kind of basic travel phrases. And a little bit more to essentially feel my way around. It wasn't bad, you know. I could do some basic speaking and do some basic things, but I wasn't really there in the culture for long. I was a tourist. I was there for about 4 days, and that definitely made me feel something. right? It felt great to be a tourist and to also be able to interact with the local people. That felt great. The later trip, when I was in college, was about 3 weeks. And in that time, myself and a couple of friends of mine lived with a host family, did host family things, went to school every day, and essentially just kind of morphed into these Spanish culture folks, and lived the Spanish culture. So where we were in the south of Spain, it was very hot. So everybody would go and get a coffee in the morning. They'd hide from the sun for a little bit in between classes. And then in the afternoon, we would all, go on either some scheduled excursion or be given the liberty of a free day to just kind of run around. And in that time, man, going to, tapas bars and going to, regular bars by all account, and going to stores and little sites and clubs and all of these places that were just kind of dotted about the southern countryside. It was really great because in Spain, I don't look out of place, right? I just am there. And if you can speak Spanish at a proficient level, which I could, thank goodness, as I was in college, you you aren't a foreigner, right? You're not a weird outsider tourist. You're just another guy or gal, of course. Um, so so you just exist, and these people kind of have a level of confidence and comfort in talking to you because you don't stick out. You just blend into the crowds, and that's a unique feeling. It's a great feeling. It's a fantastic feeling. Um, but it's unique. It's something different. In that time, in that 3 weeks, my Spanish, getting back to the point of the story, of course, my Spanish improved. Absolutely. It probably improved three or fourfold over what I had at the time of going. Now that is something to take note of. Just the idea that being in a culture helps you absorb the language. Now this was at the time when I could speak at a proficient level and actually do things. So going to Japan, I'm in a different scenario. I am in Japanese what I was essentially in my second semester of Spanish in high school. I can do the basics. Very, very basics. A little more, but essentially the very basics. Not to mention, I don't exactly blend in. So I'm going to have the experience that I thought I would have in Spain. But I'm going to be there in the culture, learning the language for 6 months. That I am curious as to where that's going to take me in 6 months. Because I know how much I improved in 3 weeks, right? Going sevenfold over that, roughly speaking, um, is going to be something interesting. And I realized that thinking about this, breaking this down, sevenfold over 3 weeks is only 24 or 21 weeks. Sorry. I'll be there realistically for 24 weeks. So we're going about seven and a half times fold over what I did the last time. That's the thing that I think is going to be the most interesting. And even though we don't have anybody right now in the live stream, I think if you want to watch this after, feel free to chime in with some questions. I'm going to be here and kind of put myself in the driver's seat answering questions. So if you have questions after and you want me to answer them, maybe I can answer them briefly, and then we'll expand and live stream too before departure. I know I had a little bit of an issue um, last time I tried to do a live stream earlier this week. I didn't know that the YouTube live streaming platform, one, did not have the ability to instantly just go live. You had to do things and wait 24 hours to do that. Second of all, it became a matter of inconvenience because I'd already advertised the live stream and kind of didn't do that, and then had to reschedule the live stream for tonight. I apologize for that. That was an oversight on my part. I hope that going forward, things will be more smooth. So thank you for bearing with me, even though I'm so small at this point. It's truly a pleasure that 10 people would want to follow me through this journey. I appreciate you, every one of you, and I'm going to continue to keep you updated. If you want to keep updated, I'm going to post to the community tab, because with my telephone, that's one of the quicker ways that I can shoot out something, because that's a thing that I can do, is just post to the community tab on my cell phone, which is awesome. I'm also going to try to do some live streams while I'm there, of course, because I think that would be really beneficial for everybody if I could just do some live streams while there. Maybe some walk and talks, depending on internet. I don't know how my internet's going to be, but we'll see. We'll investigate that. I'm also going to just kind of maybe set something up to get people things if I can. I don't know what that mode would be, but you 10 people, I appreciate you, and I want to show you that in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's curated things for you guys, based on your input and questions or whatever, or some kind of small gift as a token of my appreciation. Either way, I really appreciate that. So I think what we're going to do is we're gonna so far cut it there for, well, we're not going to cut it there actually. We're not even at the point yet where we should cut it. We've been here for just 18 minutes, so like not what we need to be doing right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna hang out. If somebody pops in, we'll get to going. We'll get some kind of conversation going about that, and see what we can do. Yeah. Also, yeah, this is my second time learning a language, so that is weird. Not something I'm used to. It's such a different language from English and Spanish. Those Romance languages are really beautiful and really easy to learn, I think. They're not hard at all. But I think some of the interesting bit with Japanese comes from the utilization of little characters in order to mean so many different things. That's one area of major interest to me, is that, in Spanish at most you get like two meanings for a thing, for a word, right? So for example, the word en in Spanish can mean in or on, generally speaking. It's not always that clear cut and dry, but generally that's what it can do. the particle versatility in Japanese not only adds to some confusion because you are dealing with something, so a phoneme basically that is essentially just one small unit that has like tons of uses, but also like you're trying to put this together with other phonemes to modify that and all the other things around it. So that adds a whole level of complexity that just isn't there with Spanish. Uh, Generally, also, there are not as many homophones in Spanish nearly as there are in Japanese. That is something. Apologies. But the idea of all of that stuff coming together and forming a language, fascinating to me. Um, we were actually talking about some of the history of Japanese uh, between my friends and I the other day, and it is something special. It's something beautiful because, of course, Japanese was originally written with Chinese characters, and then hiragana came along, and then foreigners came along, and so they needed another alphabet to transcribe foreign words and other things, loan words from other languages. And so katakana was developed as a simplified form of hiragana. So they have these three alphabets now that are used on a regular basis to form their language. It's a fascinating thing. And that's one of the things that I love about learning languages is that they are so complex and they reveal so much about a culture. Because Spanish is very direct. You can be very direct in Spanish. Japanese is a little more aloof. And so you naturally kind of take that stance in Japanese. It's very nice. It's very interesting from the mind of a very direct English slash Spanish speaker. I love that. That is a core thought in my mind is, what is this culture? What is this language? Why does it exist? How does it exist? What can it do? What can it not do? How do you act in the language? What are these options that you have given the confines of linguistics? I find that fascinating. So, yeah, I hope that the whole thing goes well, and I hope that everything kind of falls into place. I know it will, but I hope it will also. So we are going to end it there officially. So if you popped in for a minute, again, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you chose to do that. If you watch this after and have a question, please ask. I will, at my earliest availability, answer it. I hope that anything that I might have said either helps you in some way or starts the spark of a question. That is the most important thing for me. Intrigue people and get them kind of thinking. um, I hope that that's something I can do. I hope that that's a capability I have as a person and as somebody that you're going through this journey with, is to start a spark of interest and start a thought of curiosity. So again, whenever you're watching this, thank you, and I appreciate it. And if you are one of my 10 subscribers who are watching this, I doubly appreciate it. So if you want to follow me along on this journey, please feel free to do so and subscribe, or even just post a question. Maybe we'll answer that in the next live stream. If not, again, I thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope y'all have a wonderful evening.